Good morning from beautiful Brisbane, Australia. How are you this morning? It's wonderful to be here with you. My name's Linda. I'm a trauma recovery coach and I'm in beautiful Brisbane, Australia. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. It's great to have you join us. And for all my regulars, hello. Say g'day this morning. And for everybody who's just turned into daylight savings, because it's your summer, not freezing cold winter like here, I apologise if I have to change the time on my little daily announcement of what's coming up tomorrow. I'll have a look. So for you, I'm an hour late today, but I promise I wasn't, sleeping. Yeah, hi Ali. It's great to have you here. I'm sorry if you changed over to daylight savings and I didn't realise. Today, or this morning, we're going to talk about the hangover that we have as adult children from a narcissistic parent. And when I say hangover, it literally does feel like we're carrying around this icky sense of we don't know what sometimes. And we're aware, and it's this really implicit area where we're aware that socially things are happening that we don't understand. And one of the prime things that I'm aware of, I became aware of as a hangover from my childhood, part of my parenting, was that I apologised. I used to apologise way more than I needed to. I used to apologise for things that weren't even my fault. I would over-apologise, and it really does come from having a narcissistic parent because we're always trying to stay safe. Hi, Rachel. It's wonderful to have you both here from Northern Ireland. Isn't it amazing how we can connect around the globe? So if you find yourself over-apologising, what I want you to do is the next time you over-apologise, say stop. Even if you say stop in your own mind or visualise the stop, to say stop and really think about A, whether you needed to apologise, B, whether it's an automatic habit, and C, that you're going to learn to change the habit, okay? We hesitate to say no to other people because we're afraid that it might displease them. And that might sound funny as an adult, but it is actually part of the hangover from our childhood. It can be linked into part of the codependence that is built out of it due to the lack of a healthy relationship or being shown how to have a healthy relationship. But more importantly than anything else at all, we do have to learn to have the courage to say no, and the only way we learn to have the courage to say no is to start saying no. And don't say no, I'm sorry, because they can definitely both be mixed in together here in the hangover. But what we can learn to do is take some time out to reflect on whether we want to say yes or no or anything in between, or we want to negotiate terms. And that can even come down to things like if somebody's asking you to look after their kids or their pet, or just down to simple things like asking you to go out and you're not sure, and part of you wants to say no but you don't know how to say no yet, then you're going to say, oh look, can I just think about that for a while? Well, obviously not a while. Can I just think about that and get back to you? And I did a video on lots of different ways to say no, so check that out. And it helps us begin to take back our power and our ability to make choices, as well as to, staying in our lane and focusing on where we're going for the bigger picture of our life. Another part of the hangover is we can doubt our own perceptions and our own intuitions. And that happens because the narcissist is always telling us we're wrong, even if it's implied, all right? And look into gaslighting. If you haven't read about gaslighting yet, when you read about it, you'll go, oh yeah. And the essence of it is that we have a person who tells us things like, oh, how you're feeling is wrong. No, that's not what I meant, when clearly it was what they meant. And we think that we're the ones with the problem, not them. But when we learn to stand in our authentic self, we soon begin to realise that the other person is the one that's challenged, not us. Because we're staying in our lane and we're standing our ground. Good morning, Diana. Another part of the hangover is we're thinking constantly about how someone else feels about us without really acknowledging how we feel about them, and without really acknowledging that we're a really good person, okay? And we don't have to worry what other people think of us. The hangover of worrying about what other people think of us comes from our need to keep ourselves emotionally safe, because narcissists want to strip us emotionally, all right? And if they take away our internal GPS, which guides us as to what's right, what's healthy for my own particular life, then we end up taking on their GPS, and it never feels right to us, ever, ever. And I know for me, I used to sit there thinking, what's wrong? What's wrong with it? Why? And I would blame myself because they were obviously not understanding. Well, actually they were understanding, but they were actually trying to manipulate me. So we've got to be very, very careful and get ourselves educated on their tactics so that we can go back to our centre and go, right, no, this is what's right for me, this is what I perceive, and it's true. And for those of us that come out of dysfunctional, toxic families where we learn to observe very deeply, okay? So we learn to sit back and watch people, and we can actually pick up on people's intentions, and they may not even know it. And believe me, that's caused some awkward conversations for me in the past, because I would know what somebody's feeling and what their intentions are, and I would just call it out, not intentionally. I would just say, but I can see that's what's happening for you. And people would sit there going, well, no, it's not. And then it's the other side of people go, how do you know that? Well, it's because I specialised in observation as a child to try and keep myself emotionally safe. And millions of us around the world have had to do that. We're never alone, okay? And we do pick up micro signals of abandonment or displeasure. We just do. And we take them on personally as a child. We don't understand that it's about the adult. It's not about us. And it does take a bit of rewiring with our thinking, but we can do it, and we can come to a deeper understanding, because we begin to know that we're not alone on this journey, that men and women around the world are suffering from people who've treated them this way, okay? And I do know men, plural, who've been treated like women like this as well. So we're never, ever alone, okay? Now, part of the hangover is that we either take our time to trust, or we trust too readily. And I was in the category of trust too readily. I had to learn that trust is earned. Now, trust is earned through how people treat me, through how people respond in life to other people, from me observing how much integrity that person has. And I know somebody who won an integrity award at work, who I can guarantee you, when it comes to personal dynamics, it's not there at the deepest of deep levels. And that's not a reflection of them per se. They actually are not aware of the wound they're carrying around in their heart. So we have to be careful not to judge people We just have to be aware of the wound they're carrying. So if we can see what's happening internally, then trust that we can see that people have wounds, and we need to know if they're addressing their wounds and if they're aware of them, because if they're not, then we are the ones that end up hurt because we see what's happening for them. And it's best that we just take a step back, all right? But those of us who address our wounds and address our layers, we are safe people because we'll always be honest with you about what's happening for us, and we will always say it like it is in the kindest possible way. And we do have this level of integrity from what we've been through that can't be bought. Can I just say that? You cannot buy integrity. All right? So when you find somebody that has integrity at the deepest inner levels, they're people that we can trust. All right? They're real, they're raw, they're honest, and they don't have this propensity to lie to themselves. So whilst we think they're lying to us, and they do, and they are, the biggest lie is that they're lying to themselves, that they don't have a wound that they need to heal internally. Okay? And number 7 today, we repress uncomfortable emotions like pain and rage, so we shove them down. It's, like getting one of those compactor machines and shoving them down and shoving them down and shoving them down. And they consume us, or they overwhelm us, or we haven't learned how to manage them or deal with them. And quite often, the reality is we haven't learned how to put them in an order, how to manage them, what I'm going to do with them when I do allow myself to learn how to manage them. And we need to change those habits up to honour how we're feeling and know that we may not feel the same way this time next week, but by taking one step towards honouring how I'm feeling today, then I'm going to unpack what it is that doesn't serve me anymore. Okay, so we don't need to carry around the hangover from our childhood. Okay, I hope that you can take something away from today, and remember, grab your little notebook. At the end of this week, I will have a little booklet for you to purchase on my website with all the infographics, all the links to videos this week, plus reflective questions that you can ask yourself and a bit of insight into the little booklet as well, so that you then have a package where you can go back, review, where you can make decisions about the next step you're going to take in this particular area. And with a bit of reflection, you can actually see your way forward. So it's not about going back to the past. It's about reflecting on the here and now, what's happening, and how I want to build those steps. So that'll be available for you at the end of this week. Obviously, I have to do the 5 sessions first, and then I'll put it all together for you, which I'm really looking forward to, and exciting that you can actually have a product that you can go, right, this is real, I can use this, and I can use it in my day-to-day life practically to help me grow, recognize my internal dialogue, and go, yes, I can do this, and I become empowered to do that. Now, I had a question this morning from someone, and I will get back to answering it privately, but I found that it's a really super important question which I hadn't considered, and that is, as you go through the recovery to remission process, and I talk about how we empower you, and through the neurobiological process that I do and work with clients. And I was asked about the triggers, because we don't go back over the past. I don't go back over the past because our brain, our body, and our whole entire nervous system are already continually soaked in the trauma daily. So what I do is teach you how to navigate that in empowering ways that because we become empowered, that stop the triggers from happening. Okay? And when we do that, we don't have to go back to the past because we're rewiring our brain in our day-to-day life. Now, we're not rewiring the unconscious parts of our brain that start the trigger. We're rewiring our brain in order that we can live today, here, now, without the triggers. Okay? It is a process, but it works. And I know it works because I have clients that do the process with me, and it's individualized for each person into their day-to-day life. And it has to be. If you're working with somebody who doesn't make it about you and doesn't make it about teaching you these things, then you need to consider finding someone who will work with you in this area, because it's so vital and it's so much more effective and more, the results are quicker, okay? And actually, one of the ladies that's on here this morning, Diana, she's done a lot of the work that I talk about as well. And because it's framed for complex PTSD, it works. And if you're in group, which I know a number of you are, go into group and speak to Diana. Ask Diana for her opinion of the work that I do and what she does and what she puts into it. And you will see how effective it is straight out of what she knows. Yeah, she's here this morning and she says it works, it's powerful. A good tool to be aware of, yep. And that's what we do. And she does the work and she is reaping the results as well. So I hope that helps, but I will answer your question privately as well. Okay, have a gorgeous day, beautiful women, and a great sleep for those of you who've hit daylight savings in the summer. And I will check out the times on my little infographic. Thanks for joining in, ladies. I love you all heaps, and it's such a blessing to have you here this morning. I will see you again tomorrow morning with some more information that you can input into your day-to-day life and help your recovery to remission journey. Bye for now.